last time we saw you was at the Roundhouse, and Morrissey was actually stomping around upstairs, wasn't he?
He was.
You coped very well with that, by the way. What have you been up to since? Is the follow-up to Revenge Songs kind of in the making?
Well, that's a good question. I've been thinking a lot about that and how I want to approach the next album. I don't know. I don't have a definite plan yet. I still feel like there's you know, I mean, for one, Revenge Songs hasn't been released in Europe yet, actually, which is like a whole nother world to explore. And, you know, I'm really keen to go play some dates across Europe. And there's still a lot of work to do in America.
Yeah.
So at the same time, I don't want to work this record for 2 more years and then put out another album. I'd like to actually, I don't remember this, but, you know, in the 60s, like, you know, like the Beatles or something, like, they'd be putting out albums, you know, sometimes like twice a year, and like, there's something in the modern era of releasing albums where sometimes you don't release an album for 3 years, you know, and it's almost like you're constantly behind, because there needs to be a big setup, and everything needs to be in place, and you're working your album, and I don't know, I'd like to get to the, you know, the next one where it'd be great if I was actually recording it and, you know, pretty much right after it was out and I was touring it, you know, but who knows, it's such a, you know, it's an odd path. You never quite know where it's heading, so it's, you know, you kind of just have to follow it, and if there's, you know, a place where it takes off, then I want to actually go and you know, put in the time.
Yeah.
I feel like my last album was in some ways kind of stitched together. It was done, there's a lot of different performances, but they were all sort of stitched together in the studio, and because I've been playing live so much since I recorded that album, the way I want to, I do kind of have this feeling how I want to approach the next record much more how I perform the songs live.
Yeah.
Because there's almost been, for me, it's almost been like an evolution, and you know, like you write a song and there's a certain magic to capturing it when you first write it, but after you play a song for 6 months, it really, there's things that come out in it, you know, that weren't there before. And I think also I have a slightly more, there's a bit more of a rawness to my live show that I want to make sure gets captured in the next album. Yeah. So it may be something that I record really quickly, you know. Well, you hear those you know, stories about people recording albums in like 10 days, and it's like, that's it, you know. And I kind of like that idea, you know, but you know, we'll see.
Well, we anticipate it. If you can capture that feeling of your live performances, then I think it'll be something pretty damn special.
Cool.
Now you've got some special gigs coming up when you head back home. I know you've got lounge rooms and basements that you.
Yeah, we're doing a whole like series of living room concerts. I've just put the word out again on MySpace, and we've been getting a lot of requests for. I mean, the thing is about in the States, it's like you get these requests, and it's like, well, you know, so come to Texas or come to, you know, here, and it's like you couldn't actually do that, and you'd be traveling for weeks on end to get to just the next gig. And so we're trying to really consolidate it into a, you know, something that's workable, but it should be really fun, you know, to get out there and actually, you know, I like, you know, playing in alternate spaces anyway, like galleries and just things that are a little bit out of the ordinary, you know. It keeps it fun too.
I saw you put the radius on there, trying to keep it keep it into around the areas that you're touring.
I'm always open to ideas, and you never know, you know. So I'm always encouraging people, if you've got an idea, send it to me, and you know, at some point in the future, it might work, you know.
Well, if you ever tour Australia, I've got a mother who lives on a dairy farm, and they would love to have you play in the dairy. I think that would be a very nice one to do.
I'd love to get to Australia, actually. I've gotten some nice messages from there, but you know, it's such a, wow, that's a whole nother world, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a very long way. I'm sure you're going to get actually people offering you to cook you a Sunday roast and all that type of stuff. Have you had any people saying, come and stay over, and you know, really extending that hospitality? Don't just play a gig.
We had a wonderful living room concert in Lille in France. last summer, and it was one of the most just the greatest living room show I think I've done, because it was very enthusiastic, very passionate group of people, very into the music. And afterwards, they said, "Okay, no, we want to cook for you." And it was like a 7-course feast that went till 4 in the morning, and wine, and it was amazing. And
wow.
So that was really fun. And you make friends for life really that way. So.
Well, that sets the bar. 6 courses will not do, people.
Yeah,
7 at least. Do you still wake up loving what you do?
Well, I mean, it's I can't say that I always look forward to, like you said, the whole aspect of traveling. But when I get to the core of what I do, which is, I love spending time being creative. And I love that I've actually kind of built my life in a way that I have that time to be creative. And a lot of people, I think, maybe they get sort of tied up into work that is not necessarily nurturing of their creativity. And so I'm really grateful for that. And that's, at the heart of it, what I, that and going up there, and there's something about putting myself in a certain space where I don't know, I don't really open up too much in my social life, I'm a bit quiet and stuff, but when I get on stage, I don't know, there's a place I can get to that is kind of quite healing, so I'm grateful for that.
For you and for other people, I think.
Yeah.
Which is quite a special thing, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And last question, because I know you've got to go, but what is the most memorable gig you've ever been to as an audience member?
Audience member, wow. Jeez. Let me think. That's
a big question.
That's a hard question. Well, I got to see Radiohead on the first leg of the OK Computer tour in San Francisco, and that was such a magical show. It's really, it was actually kind of a small theater, and it was sort of before things really exploded for them in that album, and that's just one of those just transcendent experiences that you look for as a music fan, where it's not just people going through the motions and playing, chords. It's it becomes more of something a little bit more transcendent, and that was really inspiring. I look for that. But there's been a lot of moments like that for me, unfortunately.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jacob. Good luck on the rest of your tours. We'll come down and see you at your next gig, which was, what was it, the third
at the Troubadour.
At the Troubadour, you can say it now.
Yeah.
And we'll see you down there. And thanks very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot.